I'm Chris.
I'm Billy.
We're part of OU, and we're looking at a series of Christian essentials, basic teachings of the faith, and this is one on the Lord's Prayer. So we ended that last conversation, I thought, in a really beautiful place, which was the shaping of our desires and the direction of what God desires. I think it's a good place to recognize that whereas most of our prayers, if we're honest, are really selfish.
Yeah.
You know, they're Lord, give me this, Lord, give me that. I need this, I need that. The Lord's Prayer is different. It kind of teaches us how to pray in a different way. It begins by addressing God as Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And then it begins with what God desires. My will to you, submitted to your will, O God.
Yeah.
And only after that we get to this place where we're asking for what we need. So it's a shaping of our desires. And then it offers what we need. And what we need is daily bread. Give us today our daily bread.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Yeah. I've spoken a lot about my stubbornness, but I'm a stubborn person, so I'm going to keep on taking it from that angle. At 26 years old and whatever prime of my life, I hope it's not the prime of my life, is it?
I hope it's not the prime
I
of
hope
your
it's
life,
not either. I hope I probably peaked in 7th grade, to be honest. So... anyway, but all that being said, I especially, frankly, as an American, as a man, I pride myself in my self-sufficiency, in recognizing the needs I have and saying I'm going to work towards those, and attain those myself. But
I can't stop thinking about you as like the all-American man.
The all-American man, not quite, but I try my hardest. But I think of Matthew 18:3, somewhere in there. It says that Jesus, I'm not lying, I'm reading it right in front of me. Matthew 18:3. It says, Jesus says, in case you change and become like children, you will never enter into the kingdom. And one thing about children, I don't have kids, you have kids, but one thing about them is that they are utterly dependent upon their parent. And I don't like being utterly dependent. I don't like dependence, but it's almost saying that, Jesus is saying you need to recognize your dependence upon the God to truly understand the fullness and enter into the fullness of the kingdom of God. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. There's a kind of, I think and I think particularly putting in the lens of kind of the American script over against the Jesus script.
Yeah.
So there's kind of this myth that I think we live into as, really, frankly, kind of Westerners and North Americans, and particularly Americans, where we say, you got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You're going to go make a go of it, like live out your dreams fully. It's all about you, but you're awesome, you're great, you're wonderful, and I think go off and be independent, right?
Yeah.
Do this on your own. And I just think that that's a lie.
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, I think it's an illusion. And I guess what it leads to, or what it led to in my life, was just I did not know how to live. I didn't know what it looked like to be independent.
Yeah.
I tried to do that. I did not do it well.
Yeah.
And I think what you realize is that you come back to the basic needs.
Yeah.
It's not about anything when you kind of crash, or you kind of come to a moment where it's not about like traveling around the world or fulfilling every dream that you have or getting everything lining up perfectly in your life. It's really about like, when you strip things down, it's about, you have basic needs. You have the need to get up another day, put your feet on the ground, eat a simple breakfast, and God gives you what you need for that very next day. I don't know. There's something about that, kind of a gratitude for that. And also like recognizing your need for that, that when you're experiencing abundance and affluence and when you're on the top of top of life, everything's fallen into place. You really don't have a recognition of that need. Yeah. But then you come to these moments in life where you realize like God provides for your every need.
Yeah.
And that you need to ask God to give you what you need.
Yeah. And it's also interesting, I'll give a bit of kind of personal testimony to that. It's interesting to see how God can provide through other people through different means of grace. But one of those is just through other people and your willingness to be vulnerable of your need with them. I think of my own self, me not being like I've spent a lot of my life whenever like my mental health was beating me up, when my anxiety was beating me up, saying I just need to get over it because I was out of fear of weakness. Yet when I finally said, okay, I need help, when I finally started to see a therapist, when I finally started to confess to my friends and to my God that I was hurting inside, it was almost as if I got more strength from that confession of need than any sort of like building up of my own self-sufficiency, this pride or whatever. So we find strength in vulnerability. It's a paradox again, right, of Christianity. But when we recognize that God is coming, God provides for us through, whether it be our daily bread, quite literally here, but also through the different means of grace, through other people. When we are recognizing and confessing our need, we find more strength in that than we could ever find in this like myth of self-sufficiency. We were made for relationship with one another that's mutualistic. And that leads me to the next point. When you recognize your need, you're going to be far more of an empathetic and sympathetic person. You know, if I recognize the pain, or if I remember the times I was at my lowest and I look at someone else, I could say, hey, I've been there. I get that, rather than judge them for that scenario. When we recognize that we are all in need of the provision, the grace, and the abundance of God, it makes you far more empathetic, sympathetic, and realize, okay, you know, everyone needs a hand, so I need to step in and give a hand when I can.
Yeah, I think I want to come back to just the basic materiality of the point. So it's God gives us daily bread. So, I mean, for me, I've got the Kroger, and at the Kroger, there is an abundance, right? Yeah. But there's a recognition that we're part of that kind of 1%. Most of us, I'm not sure your circumstances, but a lot of the people in our community we're in Oxford, Mississippi in 2020, and we've got everything that we need basically. Yeah. But there are people in the world that don't. And so to say that, give me, Lord, my daily bread is different than saying, give me, Lord, my Maserati. You know, it's like it's to say this much and not more. And then also there's an awareness that other people have daily needs. And so God's provision will be sufficient for my need. Yeah. But I don't need to hoard this massive thing because there are other people that have needs. Yeah. And one of the ways that God provides for their needs is through my recognition of the limitation of my need that will be provided by God. But then we can be a part as a church we can participate in the inbreaking of God's kingdom to provide the needs for daily bread of all the world. Yeah, yeah. I think that we should push on to forgiveness. That's the next thing that we need that's offered in the prayer.
Stay tuned.